call order this regular meeting of the Commercial Borough Council. Mr. Perno, will you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Perno, will you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Okay. This meeting is being held in compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. It's been advertised in the retrospect on the bulletin board downstairs and on all social media channels official of borough. I ask for those members in the public here today, present in the room, please keep your cell phones on silent. If you can speak to somebody while we're conducting business, please do so outside of council chambers. We also are beginning our live streaming of all borough council meetings, which is a commitment we made to the public because of how successful we were during the pandemic for participation. However, this is slightly different than before. This is only live streaming for people to watch. There is not a participation opportunity. So if you are joining us via the live stream, hello. Unfortunately, you will not be able to participate, attend you, and see the business being conducted by the Borough Council. So, council members, be on your best behavior or watch it. Hopefully. Roll call.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Here.
Mr. McLean.
Here.
Mr. Perno.
Present.
Ms. Scarpa. Here. Mr. Sprazza. Mr. Woods.
Here.
Have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. The first item on the agenda this evening is the public portion of the meeting. Anyone from the public who wishes to come forward, please do so. State your name and address for the record. Seeing no public here, we will move on. We'll close the public portion of the meeting. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. First is the September 13th, 2021 council meeting. And it would appear that all those present this evening can vote on that. So I'll entertain a motion.
So, second.
Motion, Mr. Perno, second, Mr. Woods. Any discussion on the September 13th? Excuse me. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Next is the September 27th caucus meeting. Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Perno, Mr. Woods are able to vote on those minutes. So,
Second.
Mr. Perno, with the first, second is Mr. Woods.
I was present.
Oh, Ms. Scarpa, I'm sorry. Yes, you can vote. My apologies.
Okay.
So the only one that cannot is Mr. Flynn. So all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions. Thank you. First on the agenda is the engineer's report. Mr. Lees, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Immediately after the last month's meeting, worked jointly with Ms. Browse and Ms. Calloway, we're able to successfully submit the Safe Schools application on the SAFE platform. We have all the necessary associated documents, so we'll see if we get any feedback on our application. In addition, we are now substantially complete on our fiscal year 2020-2021 road program, which is St. James, Hamilton, Prospect, Holly. The road cores were completed last week. We're waiting for the final report of the results, and the punch list was issued today. Still some remaining items that need to be addressed before the project is closed out. I spoke to Mr. Higgins last week. We're preparing a legal description for the Glenwood Avenue access easement. Also at the same time, putting together the final documents for bid, which I plan on doing next week, put it in paper and get that out on the street. In addition to that, I'm working on several projects, for roof projects, community center projects, and some other projects.
Great. And I do have, please come on in.
Thank you.
A copy of the punch list which is, fairly typical, extensive, and I'll pass this on. This is Mrs. Sprouse's only copy. Is this in the file folder on Google Drive?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, no, not on Google Docs.
So,
But everybody has one.
They all did. This is the only copy I got.
Wait,
That's the punch list.
oh, no,
They have not seen.
no,
Okay.
no.
So I'll circulate that around. Otherwise, anything else of any note? Questions from Borough Council, Mr. Lees? Okay. Thank you very much, Tom.
Unless you want to mention 2022.
It is on the agenda, we can mention it. We did.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, I'll do it now. The borough was awarded for the 2022 municipal aid program $220,000 for the road program that we had submitted. And that includes Woodbine, which is concrete, correct? That portion of Woodbine, I think.
I'll have to double check. It's Woodbine, and West Walnut,
The W's.
the W's.
So looking forward to beginning that in short order. Just make sure and work with council members. Make sure that those are still the roadways that we need to have at this time.
Sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Comment?
Sir?
Thank you very much for the hard work that was done, residents on St. James Avenue. Very excited and pleased with the work that was done there, and especially the replenishing the curves around the park. Appreciate it, thanks a lot.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is correspondence. We just discussed the one item of correspondence we received from the state of New Jersey with regard to the 2022 municipal aid from the state in the amount of $220,000. So we will get working on design and probably have to bid, I assume, in the early part of the winter of 22. Next item on the agenda is council reports. Mr. Woods, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Not much report at this time. The joint land use board's meeting is postponed for this month, due to lack of applications. The Brookfield Diversity Committee will not be meeting this month. The next meeting will be the first Thursday of next month. That's all I have. Not much update on.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Woods? Hearing none, Ms. Scarpa, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Merchantville Municipal Court, the report for money turned over to the borough for the month of October is $5,367.06. Cases added, 207 and 232 cases disposed. Please find the following. Money turned over, cases added, and cases disposed for January 2021 to October 2021 and January 2020 to October 2020. Money turned over in 2021 was $74,716.87. In 2020, it was $63,250.49, with a difference of plus 15%, $11,466.38. Cases added in 2021 was 2,676. 2020 was 1,714. For a difference of a plus 35%, as the plus 962 cases. Cases disposed in 2021 were 2,344. In 2020, it was 1,953. For a difference of plus 16, and that's an additional 391 cases disposed. We've had 3 virtual court sessions for the month of September. And at this time, there is no decision as to when the court will be again held in person. Any questions about that report?
Just to say thank you for working with Maureen and getting that sort of back half of 19 report for budgetary report purposes. It's going to be very helpful to see all of that.
You're welcome. She's always very efficient and cooperative, and I'm glad to have had work with her. Okay, the Merchantville Shade Tree Commission. The annual New Jersey Shade Tree Federation Conference was October 21 and 22nd. Some of our commissioners attended and found it to be informative and beneficial. The Merchantville Shade Tree Commission has received 2 requests for authorization for removal of trees. We replied requesting information to include name of the tree service to be utilized. The original tree removal list was for 2021 was submitted to DPW for removal of trees that they are able to do and to contract out the remainder for a list of 23 trees. And that work has already begun and is in progress as I speak. An additional list with 61 trees with 5 already found to be down was submitted for DPW to review and have as many removed as the funds will allow. DPW requested that the Merchantville Shade Tree Commission mark trees on the multi-use path and at the community center for the additional list. Our commissioner who has that section is away, so I marked the trees. And at the community center, I found a small grove of 3 to 5 foot trees of heaven on the east side of the property. I requested DPW follow up on a proposal I submitted for Bartlett Tree Service to treat those trees with herbicide and kill them, as this grove of trees of heaven could be we want to kill these trees of heaven to prevent an infestation of spotted lantern flies. The Merchantville Shade Tree Commission meeting for November has been canceled. Any questions? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fitzgerald, good evening.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll start with our public works report. For personnel, Matthew Corey was injured on October 2nd, small laceration to his right eye. He's still out and we're waiting for a workers' comp to release him. Happy to report that Bobby Royce on vacation, seen to his newborn daughter. Both mother and daughter are doing well. In the meantime, we're utilizing part-time workers to help the boy. Yard waste typically around this time of year would be when the DPW yard will be opened up on Saturdays to help accommodate any folks in the borough to bring any excess yard waste in for disposal. Or working with both of the 2 members of Public Works out at the moment, we suspend that until further notice. With winter fast approaching, and starting to already segue into getting the snow equipment ready so that hopefully everything will be good to go if and when the snow arrives. Any questions for DPW stuff?
Sean, just from a staffing perspective, are we in a position with the 2 individuals that are currently out to be able to meet the needs of the borough, or are we considering temporary staffing or?
I will check in with Chief Patty first thing tomorrow morning regarding that. As far as I know, we've been still picking up every green cans that have been being picked up. I haven't heard any reports of yard waste not being picked up, and this is, folks tend to be vocal about this thing. Everything's been quiet so far, but I will check in with them to make sure that everything is still on schedule and working.
Kevin's usually pretty good about that and having contingency plans. I just check with him to make sure, I'm sure that he has a plan in place.
Well done. This is a professional thing. The local business community had their business professional meeting earlier, last month. They're gearing up for the holiday season. They will not be meeting again until December. There was 3 meetings with some of the members to discuss some of the alcohol laws, some budget there is about that. It's just a thing for hopefully straightened out in regards to what is legal and what is not. Doug County can add in public events with Small Business Saturday taking place after Black Friday, where the borough through the public events committees will be sponsoring a giveaway in conjunction with the local businesses. Spend X amount of dollars or receive X amount of tickets from the participating businesses, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win a 2-day trip to PA. So we definitely recommend everyone who gets the opportunity to go out and spend some money locally. Well, public events Monsterville was a success. I just want to say again, thank you to the local Scouts group for all the work that they did with the Witch's House. Thank you to Rebecca Calloway, her husband, for their assistance with having someone there to greet people and take some photographs with folks on one of the Fridays. The Haunts of Monsterville winners were announced last Friday. For local winners, they also, as well as receiving the Golden Brooms, they've received a couple of gift certificates to local businesses. And with Monsterville now officially having passed, we're moving into plans for the holiday parade in early December. Still working out some of the details and trying to iron out some of the wrinkles that we've had in the past in terms of lining folks up, getting people signed up, making sure the tree's ready, ordering menorah for menorah lighting. So we'll be reporting on that as more details get smoothed out from there. That's all I have to report for this month.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fitzgerald. I just, on the issue of the holiday parade, and I know, Mr. Perry, you generally ride the fire company, but for the remaining members of Borough Council, I was talking with Mr. Fitzgerald before the meeting about the possibility of putting together an actual float or some sort of something for Borough Council and the mayor, and wanted to gauge interest in it. I'm sorry, I know Buddy likes to make his appearance, but you know, we're slow. Let's just put it out there. And I was thinking,
Well, if you went first,
we would slow the whole parade down.
well, no, I'm saying, if you went first, then maybe Buddy could run to the back and.
Well, Buddy can do whatever he likes.
Just throw on
I'm not gonna get from walking or anything like that.
I mean, I always thought Buddy should close with Santa anyway.
I agree, because he knows him. I just consider it, because I'd like to do something, if we could, if we do a float, or if we even just some sort of transportation. I think it's,
I have enough Halloween stuff that I can.
what, we're gonna ride a raisin down?
Yeah, it's gonna be a replica of me on. I'll be willing.
I think it would be
I think
neat. It's something we haven't, Borough Council and the mayor used to do a float
Oh, really?
every year. Yeah, and when I was a kid, we were on the float. Throwing
Yeah.
So I think maybe we think about that and do something where we're all on there and it would be nice. So
Can you give a hand on it there or a foot now? One happy to have this. Oh,
I could make some calls.
I know, having done the 8th grade haunted house thing.
Yeah.
I have access to several floats. You know,
All right. It's settled, we're gonna do
at no charge.
it. Okay, great. Well, if there's a cost, you know, I'll split it with you. We'll find it.
We'll figure it out. I'm gonna do the second option.
All right. There are people that are watching, so let's move on. But that sounds great. So we'll talk offline about that, figure out. Okay. Mr. McClune.
thank you, Ryan. Mercantile Fire Department for the month of October responded to 28 calls. 14 of those were in the borough, 12 in Pennsauken, 2 in Maple Shade. The fire department continues to have drills, usually Monday, but this particular month they have a special burn building training that's actually occurring this evening. And then a car fire simulator will be on the 18th. Not much to report in regards to concerns with the apparatus, but just want to echo Chief Patty's accolades for the department's support of that major fire in Pennsauken about 2 weeks ago over on Crescent Boulevard. The Mercantile Police Department for the month of October, training continued to be a priority. Patrolman Queen completed a week-long standard field sobriety training. He is now state certified to handle all alcohol-related driving incidents. Patrolman Clark attended a 2-day CED class and is now certified for use of the taser. Officers completed the state mandated table training during the month of October for Chief Gracia and Clark. Patrolman Tappert attended a state mandated CGIS update and is now certified to train the department for the use of this new system. And then lastly, Sergeant Callaway, and Chief Grassi completed training on risk management for police command staff, and also attended a course on police pre-employment background investigation. On October 23rd, the police department hosted a DEA Take Back initiative. The police department was able to collect 27 pounds of unused medication from area residents who was then disposed of with the DEA. As it relates to Monsterville and the annual Halloween festivities, really only one or two very minor issues reported with a couple of trick-or-treaters not adhering to the curfew. Other than that, no major issues to report from Halloween. As mentioned last month, Patrolman Roseborough was assigned as a community policing liaison for the police department. There will be other members, based on their interests, also participating in organizing events throughout the community. The goal is to further involve the police department in community events such as movie nights, coffee with the cop, etc. The Marshall Police Department, along with Lawnside, Barrington, and Haddon Heights, in conjunction with the Haddon Heights High School, are participating in a Garnet Country Police Outreach Program. This will afford an opportunity for members of the department to really extend the community outreach initiative with members of the high school community, and allow us to interact with the kids and to allow opportunities to mentor where needed. I do not have those statistics for the month of October, but do want to share from the chief's report here that the police department had 78 incidents, actually I'll call positive interactions of proactive engagement with members of the community. And then lastly, as mentioned last month, Sergeant Miller intends to retire in February of next year. The posting for the replacement has been published. It's been disseminated with both the Gloucester and Canyon County Police Academies. There has been 3 return applications. This is much later, I think, than what we were hoping. But right now, I think recruitment and officers is part of a nationwide sort of struggle trend issue right now that we just have to work and overcome. But that's again one of the reasons why once we had the notice, we knew we had to get a jump on this so that come February we're in a position. That is all I have for the fire department and police department.
Thank you, Mr. McQueen. And with particular regard to the job posting for the sergeant major's position, Chief Crossman and I had a couple of discussions, and I think when we get into discussions about budget for next year, I think we have to give some consideration to the idea of potentially supporting one or more individuals in the academy and sponsoring them. Well, if there is risk in doing that, because we may lose them to other departments, the issue we're running into is that there's a very small pool of applicants at this point, and we have certain qualities that we're looking for in an officer here because of our small department, and we think that we may be able to achieve some of those goals if we sponsor individuals. So we'll have to have, I think that's a greater discussion for a later date, and it may be a way for us to achieve some of those goals. But given what we're seeing now and seeing the trends about where our officers are and how many we have that are coming up for retirement in probably a 6 to 18 month window, we have to maybe think a little outside the box of what we've normally done. So just bring that out. Anything else, Mr. McLean? Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Kern, good evening.
I have one item actually, since the properties update, which again, I think is, I'm going to kind of highlight this. We only have 20 vacant properties total in town, one abandoned, so we're about 21 total properties. This is a far cry. We were well, 140 or 30, you know, 36, or, you know, so just a couple of years ago. So it's really kind of, you know, moved in a very good direction. Of those, I anticipate, so we have only 9 where no one is acting on them at all right now, of those 20. Seven of those 20 properties have permits and are currently, we have 2 are on resale inspection and 2 are for sale as we speak. So, you know, those 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 will come up with very short. So we should be down to almost less than 10 in the borough in a very short period of time. I'm highlighting that because I do believe one of the things that's made this program so effective for us in the community has actually been our work with ProChamps. And I know ProChamps is, I think, recently hit some litigation issues. And I just want to kind of understand, you know, I'm not fully aware of what it is, but my understanding is that it definitely has taken some of the teeth of our ability to penalize people who basically are just sitting on property letting it deteriorate and fall apart around the neighborhood. I don't know if there's something we can do at some point to kind of raise the attention to our accountants, our assembly and senate members. But if there's a way to take corrective action at a senate or assembly level to encourage the reinstatement of that program and fix any judicial situation that may be problematic, I would like to actually try to at least make that happen. Only because it was so effective in our community. I think other communities were aware of the full impact of it. If it was tied to an aggressive renovation project or program that we were putting in place here in Birchville, could really be effective in other towns as well. So that was kind of the.
There have to be other communities within the state of New Jersey who struggle with resources like we do to be able to have an individual or a department to consistently manage this issue. And one of the things that I would call with ProChamps, it's almost belt and suspenders, right? We have an ordinance in place, which with certain regulations that are mirror the state law. ProChamps came in and basically were providing a service to the borough, and it was, the cost was on the property.
Yeah.
So it was a lien on the property. I don't know, I'm aware of the litigation, I don't know the content of the litigation.
Same thing here, and I don't know all the
Yeah.
details of it, that's, so I would just like to kind of just, I don't know if we could correct something, where that is.
I just became aware of that today when I got the email.
Yes, I mean, yeah, but anyway, I wanted to just highlight it because the program has been very effective. Again, used in concert with other programs we have here.
Sure.
That are unique to our borough, but not unique across the state of New Jersey, and it just, I would hate to see something like that, just entirely disappear. So.
Tim, if you could just take a look at that and report back, Denise, make sure it's on the agenda at our next meeting.
That's it, that's all I have, thank you.
Okay, questions?
Councilman Bernard, some of the businesses, I'm glad you brought this up, some of the businesses, the last Business Professionals Association were actually inquiring about some of the local commercial properties. Within that list, is that strictly residential or some of those actually include some commercial properties?
I have 5 commercial properties on the list.
Okay.
We have not taken an effort to really target commercial properties as much. But I can tell you what we have on our list is 75 West Maple, which is up for sale. 41 South Center, which is the clean out of the interior is continuing. 222 North Center, which is where the construction office. 25 West Park Ave, which the building has been purchased and has not been opened since.
Right.
And 214 West Maple, which received notice of vacancy via ProChamps. Those are the ones we have on our list right now. Now, mind you, if the property is maintained and just vacant, but it's fully maintained, we don't target the property.
Understood.
It's only if it has if it starts to become a violation where it's not being maintained, it's starting to contribute to the neglect of the adjacent properties and might impact property value of adjacent properties. That again, I think is one of the differences between our, I think part of what was happening in the lawsuit was they were targeting every vacant property regardless of whether it was contributing nuisance or not. We've taken the evidence that stands that if you're maintaining your property, you're just vacant and you're trying to sell it, I'm not going to penalize you for not being able to sell the property at you know, where you're gonna. I only care if like you have 50 squirrels running with the property and the porch is falling down. 45 squirrels, okay, but
That's Disney.
so, I mean, I think you understand my point, is that, what I'm looking for are properties that are in disrepair and where someone has vacated the premises. Right. So, I mean, even properties that are in similar disrepair that are occupied, we try to find assistance for those people. I'm not looking to create an additional burden, financial burden on them to fix up their property by charging them more money. That's not a solution. So at least that's not how I view a solution then.
Thank you.
Follow. Yes.
Councilman Bernard, is the bank included on that commercial list?
No, because that is a part of the property. So I wish I could. We don't let file ourselves.
All right. We'll move in, clerk's report. Mrs.
I
Brown?
don't have much tonight, Your Honor, just letting you know that on Veterans Day, which is Thursday, we celebrate Veterans Day, first of all, and the borough will be closed. And second, that the PTA has asked that we just announce that they will be having a movie night on November 13th in Wellwood Park. They just wanted to let council know. They did use the facilities form. I approved it quickly because it was before they need to get the word out. But that's all that I have.
Okay. Thank you as always for your efforts with the election last Tuesday. And I do think, early voting in Mercerville was a success. I would say we had 7 total early votes, which was, 2.3%, I think, of the total voting registered voters, 5.9%, I think, of total votes cast, which is pretty good, pretty much in line with the rest of the state, I think. And I hope to be able to expand that moving forward. That I think was something.
That was a success.
Yeah. So, thank you for your efforts. Mrs. Moles?
Mayor, the only option only topic to discuss is the best practice, which is part of the business, or to take care of it now.
We'll just hit it when we jump into the new business. Okay.
That's great, I have nothing else to add.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Brass or Mrs. Moles? Okay, let's move on. The clock is still running. Old business, Center Street reconstruction update. Mrs. Brass?
So right now they're waiting for the PSE&G to come out and fix the street light, the Victorian street lights that were an issue. They had a problem running the conduit, so they had to run it to a different section. As soon as that's finished, they will do some additional blacktop to complete that and then do all the items on the punch list at one time rather than keep coming back. So they're just waiting for PSE&G to finish that, but other than that, everything except the punch list items.
And that includes all the brickwork and everything. that you see
Brickwork,
throughout the borough.
Striping,
Yeah.
things like that are still to be completed, but they're gonna come out all at one time completed.
Okay. And expectation, contract period ends in January, correct?
It does, but they were hoping to be out of here by now, but because of PSE&G, they're just waiting on that.
Do we need any
might,
motivation from
if-
PSEG?
If we don't get an answer by the end of this week, then we'll put some moving.
Okay, please keep us updated.
Okay.
Tree trimming and removal in the borough update. We've been talking about potentially trying to create policy and some sort of budgetary vision for how we're going to do this. Any updates on where we are with that?
Our commissioner is out of town, and as soon as he gets back, we'll give it our undivided attention.
Okay, perfect. We'll come back to that next month. Next item on the agenda, DOT TAC grant project, pedestrian street. At this point, we're on pace. It's still going through state approvals, through state historic preservation, and some of the other entities, because it's federally funded, that they're required to get approval and input from. But we remain on task and on time, still 2023 construction period, correct? But we are. There will be another public stakeholder meeting. There will be another presentation to the council. We expect that to happen probably in the later winter, first quarter of 2023. All right. Next, West Maple Neighborhood Task Force redevelopment survey. So Councilman Sprazza isn't here this evening, but I have asked him to work with Rebecca and begin the process. I brought this, and this was on the agenda, I think, in October as well. Begin the process of developing a survey and reinitiating the West Maple Neighborhood Task Force so that we can get a redevelopment plan established for that area. You'll recall that there are a number of properties on Maple Avenue that are in a redevelopment area that was approved by this body probably 3 years ago, I guess now, 2-3 years ago. And what I think is important is to get community buy-in and input on some of the things that the community on the west part of our borough would like to see. Then at the same time, in parallel path, we're going to be seeking funding hopefully from the DVRPC. The next round of funding for DVRPC for planning for redevelopments is 2022 in New Jersey. I think maybe 2023. I'll have to check my math on that. But hopefully we can get a planning grant, do a redevelopment plan, and then start working on potential redevelopment in that West Maple neighborhood task area. So we're a couple years away, but we definitely want to get buy-in from the community, membership from the community. I've already asked Councilwoman-elect Morales if she would serve. She lives on Woodline in the West End, and she's agreed to, when she gets on council, to be involved with that group. So we're trying to get some community buy-in, use social media, use SurveyMonkey and some other opportunities and tools to be able to get buy-in, information, and input. So Councilman Sprazza is going to be leading that group. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information on that next meeting. All right. E, which is not on the agenda, however, it is sitting as a draft in the middle table here. One of the things that, you wouldn't believe it, but we have a ton of items that are going on in borough projects, whether they be capital projects or other software installations or community center projects. We have file management projects, everything throughout the entire borough. At times, I feel like we are not fully focused on where we are on these, what our timeline is. This is a draft that I asked Mrs. Browse to put together for us. It is in draft form. So what I would ask, and please in the Google Drive, and we'll have it circulated to all the members of Borough Council. Please work with your departments to provide additions, revisions, you name it, to this document. I want this to be a living and breathing document so that we can really kind of manage where we are on these projects and these initiatives, so that we can A, hold ourselves accountable, but B, also, the public will recognize all the different initiatives we're working on at any moment, which I think is important sometimes. So take a look at this, get with your departments, like I said, get any revisions back to Mrs. Browse. We'll make sure it's emailed out in a modifiable form, and we'll keep this as part of the agenda at every borough council meeting moving forward, so that it is just on the old business. We can take a look at it, we can bring items up and make sure that we are moving things along in an expeditious fashion. All right, and it's old business because we did bring this up before, but it sort of fell by the wayside. That's why I put it in this. Questions on that? Okay. Moving to new business, best practice questionnaire. Mrs. Knowles.
Thank you, Mayor. There was an email that was distributed to council for the 2021 best practice inventory. We had to complete 27 questions, and the maximum points were 15. We are happy to report that we scored 18.5 points. The areas that covered were personnel, budgets, finance, procurement, capital projects, shared service, tax collection, environmental, cybersecurity, and planning and economic development were areas that affected Mercerville directly. There were a few questions that were not completed as a yes. One was in reference to a cumulative absence liability. Because we do have sick time that's accrued, the recommendation is to set up a trust, which was on the agenda last month. So we'll have a trust to be able to put funding aside if necessary. It hasn't been an issue, but we are going to be able to answer yes next year. A couple other questions was in that we weren't able to answer in their format is the anti-nepotism. They require an ordinance. We have it in our personnel policy. So we are following an anti-nepotism policy, but not in the ordinance. And then another no, which was in reference to having a public electric charging station. So that may be a yes in the future, but at this point, we're not quite there. So we're in compliance by having it discussed during an open meeting. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, with the infrastructure bill, I think it was what, 47 point something billion for electric charging infrastructure. So hopefully some of that will be funneling down to the state, which I know New Jersey has been very much on the forefront of those efforts. So I don't have any questions. Again, I don't know if members of council do.
Just one question, please. I checked with the Department of Community Affairs, because I wanted to make sure I was clear about the questions that had no answers, and you just talked about the possibility of a charging station. That was one that I thought would be really important for, and I think in past council meetings, we talked about different places we'll put electric charging stations. So hopefully we'll have a yes for that in the future. The one about anti-nepotism ordinance, they highly advise that we put that inside our policy and procedure manual. So are we on the track for doing that?
It is in our policy manual,
Okay, so then why did we get in that?
because it's not an ordinance.
Oh, I see.
So that's the only distinction. We have a clear policy, but it's not an ordinance for it. But it's still enforceable through the personnel policy.
Thank you for helping me to understand that.
Certainly.
Thank you, Mayor.
Certainly. Mrs. Moles, thank you very much. I appreciate your assistance and work on that. B, 2022 municipal aid, $220,000. We'll talk about that. Let's move on. C and well, let's start with C, the borough brief. I hope all members of borough council are on the borough brief email list. I assume that they are, but I just wanted to mention the effort that Rebecca Calloway has put into the borough brief and social media accounts. I think that it is very clear that we have somebody who knows what they're doing, who's managing that right now, and I appreciate your efforts. The borough brief is great, and it's a great communication tool that's a blast out to people via email. I would encourage residents who might be here this evening or might be watching us on live stream. You can go to the borough website, and there's a sign up. I believe it's bottom right of the page, where you can also jump in and enter your email address and receive the borough brief, which provides updates on almost a weekly basis recently. May not be able to keep that pace, but you know, it will be frequent updates about happenings and goings on in the borough, and I appreciate all of your efforts, Rebecca. They're noticed. Questions on the borough brief? Also, make sure if your departments, please get them involved. I'm sure Rebecca is talking to them already, but if you have something that needs to be highlighted, it's a great forum to highlight that stuff. So, D is live stream of borough council meetings. I know that we went through an 18-month period where we were on Zoom, and I was messing with a mouse over here and letting people in and having, you know, a grand old time, but we moved on from that. We're back into in-person meetings. But one of the positives that I think that we've heard from the residents was that they enjoyed the opportunity to at least see what was going on. And I think in the interest of transparency and greater access, moving to stream these meetings is just a natural extension of where we were. So I want to thank Mrs. Strauss and Rebecca for your efforts in getting us set up. And this is our first live stream meeting. And look forward to moving forward so that we can, more people can get involved, even if they can't make it here in person. So that's all I have on that. Any questions? Yes?
Mr. Mayor, if someone is going to be watching the live stream and they can't make it here in person, then is it possible for them to send in a correspondence that would be read at the council meeting and included in minutes so that they can participate in that fashion?
I believe they're entitled to submit correspondence and it could be read into the minutes, but we can't answer questions. It wouldn't be a back and forth dialogue.
I understand. I just was looking for a way for people to have a physical access as well as the visual access, and I commend you on doing that and moving us into the future.
Someday we'll get there to the future. Okay, thank you. That's it for new business, unless anybody from council has any other items of new business. Seeing, hearing none, we'll move into the resolutions. Is everyone okay with reading these resolutions 114 through 117 by consent agenda?
That's just a quick question about 21-114. We won't even have to pull it out. Okay.
Sure.
Andrew, will the police be replacing the vehicles that are going to be disposed of for practice of fire extinguishing?
I believe we've already approved those as part of the budget, yes, earlier this year.
Can they look into an electric vehicle if possible?
That's something they've looked into.
Believe me, that's at the top of my list. I've been nagging the chief for about 3 years now. And when I got my Model Y, I said, that's perfect, get that, but we're trying to work the finances out. That is on the top of his list of things.
There's also a thing where I also recommend us leasing this week. Opposed to purchasing. So, but I am also keenly interested in having one entire fleet go.
Thank you.
Not
Not
now, but.
All right, so we're good to be read by consent agenda. All right. Resolution to be read by consent agenda, resolution 21-114, police vehicle disposal / donation. Resolution 21-115, municipal court uncashed checks. Resolution 21-116, chapter 159, special items of revenue. And resolution 21-117, transfers. Do I have a motion to move those resolutions?
So moved. Second.
I'll give the first to Ms. Scarpa, second to Mr. Perna. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McBloom.
Yes.
Mr. Perna.
Yes.
Ms. Scarpa.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes. Thank you. Next, financial reports, Mr. Perna.
Yes, so at this time, I didn't do a regular report, but we do have a resolution for $2,609,661.90. That is not what the borough is just spending, it also includes $1,560,280.50 for the Board of Education, as well as a payment to Camden County for $560,705.71. So of the 2.6 million that we have to move this evening, more than 2 million of it is going to other government agencies. Once again, I just have to highlight that of the taxes we collect in the borough, approximately 25% or less actually comes back to the borough to operate in this town. So I think we do a lot with money in the facility we can. With that, I'll ask to move that for bid.
Second. I have a motion made by Mr. Perna, second, Mr. McBloom. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McBloom.
Yes.
Mr. Perna.
Yes.
Ms. Scarpa.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes. Thank you. Any announcements before? Council meeting currently scheduled for the 22nd of November. What is, that's the week of Thanksgiving. I don't know what everybody's schedules are like, or if you're going to be in, out of town. I'm just asking now, I don't foresee anything of a critical nature. Nothing budgetarily, nothing time sensitive. I don't need to cancel it today, but please let us know, what your schedules are.
I'll be around, but preparing for the family result.
And also, of course, our float.
Yes, our flood. So, we do too.
All right, well, just keep that in mind, because, you know, I know it's a very, very busy time of year. And it's also, you know, the Monday after the municipalities, and I don't know, I know you're gonna be going down there and it's a lot there. So just let me know, and, we can sort of take a vote.
So if we cancel the November 22nd meeting, does that mean we'll probably have 2 in December?
Maybe, maybe not, it depends, it really becomes an issue of volume of what we need to get done. Our first meeting in December would be December 13th, which is, you know, about midway through the month. I'm very unlikely to have a meeting on the 27th, which is the Monday after Christmas holiday. So it's likely we will only have that one on the 13th, unless there was a need for a special meeting, which, and then we would just call a special meeting, and meet. But we usually don't have a ton of stuff, but we do cancel that second meeting in December. Okay, and then very briefly, I would entertain a motion for private session for the matter of contract and personnel. If someone will make that motion.
Second.
The motion starts with second, Mr. Fitzgerald. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Be taking action.
Yes.
We will be taking action likely coming out of this. So we will go back into open session. Until then, we have to pause the live stream and